So we're going to get this going here in just a moment. We'll do about an hour of live streaming here to talk about this snowstorm. As you're looking downtown Topeka, there's 3 snowplows going right down Kansas Avenue. That's good to see. Look at that. Now the side streets, the rule in Topeka is they won't hit those, the snowplow, until we get to 6 inches of snow there. We'll see if these cars behave nicely at 10th and Kansas. Just never know. A lot of slipping and sliding going on out there. So here's what we have so far. In Topeka, the highest total I see so far that's been reported to the National Weather Service is 3 inches of snow. That's over near Lake Sherwood. That doesn't mean that you have exactly 3 inches of snow in your yard, and I'm not claiming that. That's just the highest total that I've seen so far. I'm going to check on social media over the next hour, and we'll see what kind of pictures and snow totals have been coming in from different folks. We've had some reports as high as 5 and 6 inches in northeast Kansas of snow, and it's still falling and likely to continue falling this evening, with another burst of heavier snow late tonight into early tomorrow morning. On top of what we have, we're probably going to see another inch to 3 inches of snowfall, and it's going to taper off from north. It'll taper off from south to north, being higher numbers south, a little less to the north. So areas like Marysville, Washington, Concordia, you could see another inch of snow on top of what you've already had. Topeka, another 2 or 3 is a possibility. Areas like Burlington, Emporia, Yates Center, down to El Dorado, over toward Olathe, south side of Kansas City, could still see 3-4 inches of snow on top of what's already fallen. So this is the view right now from downtown Topeka from our Midland Exteriors Skycam network, and you can see everything clearly is covered in snow. So this map I'm going to show you is the official local storm reports map that gives us the snowfall that's been reported to the National Weather Service. So this is not every single person that's reported snow. It's just every single official report that's gone into the National Weather Service so far into their system. So let's check out what we have. And I mentioned a moment ago that near Lake Sherwood in Topeka, we've got an official report of 3. Getting over to Wamego, there's 5 inches reported. In Manhattan, that's the north side of town, very close to the Stormont Vale Manhattan campus, where we have a camera, of course. 4 inches of snow there. Getting into Chapman, I believe here, 3.8 inches of snow so far. A little farther to the west, now I've got Salina with a report of 2 and another report of 5. Late last night, I noticed, and I posted this on social media and onto our WIBW weather app as well. About 1 a.m. when I was putting those out. I saw these reports coming in of around ½ a foot of snow that already had fallen near Hayes. So that burst of snow continued making its way eastward and obviously affecting us. There's a bigger number, a 7-inch snowfall in Beloit right there. In Concordia, I don't see a number officially reported there yet. Blosser Airport will certainly have a value at some point. In Washington, about 5 inches. Marysville with 4.3 inches so far and still falling. And then getting over to Lake Perry, you've got 3.5 at Ozaukee. And then McLouth has a report of 4 inches of snow. And then Lawrence, I don't see any official numbers just yet. I'm sure there will be some coming in. And then farthest to the south, there's Emporia with 4 and Burlington with 1.9. And as I mentioned, Burlington's probably one of these places that could still see higher numbers, and that's because the greater energy moving in tonight is what would cause that. It's not necessarily what happened last night, but what's still coming. So there's a live look in downtown Emporia right now from, you can see folks out there digging out of the snow at the Crest Center, I believe. Right across the street there from the Lyon County History Center. So if you know that fellow that's out there digging snow, give him a call on the cell phone and tell him we're watching him do great work. You're doing great work, sir. that's hard work. I know that's hard work, and I've shoveled snow for many years. My young sons are now old enough to help shovel the snow, so I don't have to do all of it, and they're at that young stage now where they still think it's fun. So I'll continue to let them let them think it's fun until they get older and realize, hey, Dad's pulling one on me. But you know, we're all going to be shoveling snow for a while here. Live look near Maple Hill. This is from the WIBW transmission tower. Still snowing in Council Grove. That's how it looks from the communication tower from TCT broadband on the west side of town. Now these wind chill values are still dangerously cold with Topeka at 13 below zero, so it's dangerously cold to get outside. Many times when it snows in northeast Kansas, it's typically something like 25, 30 degrees after the snow, and you can get out and sled, you know, build a snowman, that kind of stuff. This snow is that really fine, powdery snow that is extremely hard to build a snowman out of. And, you know, so getting out and trying to build a snow fort or whatever is just really difficult to do. I like playing in the snow too, but I'm telling you, this is not the kind of snow that is great for that. The other thing is that the wind chill is just so nasty out there. If you're going to get outside and do anything in this, or if you're clearing snow or shoveling snow or whatever, you got to make sure that you are bundled up. You got to wear a hat in this. You got to wear gloves in this. Coat, scarves, whatever you can to cover up exposed skin. I'm wearing the coveralls. You know, I do that about 3-4 times a year. I mean, part of it is when I'm driving into the office or wherever I might need to go, is if somebody's stuck and I have to get out and push, you know, I'm going to make sure that I am dressed to help. Or if I get stuck and I have to get out and help push myself, then I'm going to be dressed right for that. Or if I get just stuck overall, then at least I'm dressed warmly as I can be. So if you see me running around in coveralls, that means, you know, it's not a fashion thing, or it's not that I'm out, you know, working on, you know, a car or something like that. I mean, it means I expect to be cold, and I expect to be in situations where I may have to get out and deal with being covered in snow. You know, you really got to dress right for this kind of weather. All right, wind gusts right now from the northeast at 15 to 20 miles per hour. So we're not in like blizzard condition levels or anything like that, but the wind is certainly strong enough. It's creating dangerously cold wind chill values. The temperature itself is still 1 in Concordia. It's only 7 in Ottawa right now. And as you look outside live in Concordia right now, across the street at the hospital there from Cloud County Community College, what I want you to notice is you can't see very far. Now, most of the time when we're looking from this camera, you can see pretty well over to Blosser Airport, which is just across Highway 81. I believe that truck is on Highway 81, pretty sure, but you can barely see over to there. So the visibility right now is considered to be 1 mile at the airport there, and that's a big reason why we have these official reports that come from airports. Think if you're a pilot, you got to know things like what's the visibility. You got to know things like what is the surface wind right now before you try to land a plane or before they take off. You need to know what the weather conditions are before you land at a place. So that's a reason why many of the official reporting comes from airports. It's also why a lot of the weather radars are established close to airports. KCI, the radars kind of close to them, but a lot of the different military facilities will have weather radars close to them as well. Well, near Alma is kind of an outlier, but that's why some of the radars are where they are, and that's why the Weather Service observations are where they are. So we just showed Concordia has moderate snow coming down. You can see on the radar too from the Prairie Band Casino and Resort Live Storm Tracker. Zooming out, this is not coming to an end anytime soon. Now, the computer models were showing that by about 5 o'clock we might find a little break in this earlier, but now it looks like this may continue much of the afternoon and evening, and these bursts from Council Grove to Emporia back down to McPherson, that's not light snow. There is a break farther back. It's going to take a while before it gets in here, but again, many spots are going to pick up an additional 1 to 3 inches of snow by the time this is done with tomorrow morning, and the higher numbers will still probably be closer to and south of I-35. So again, there's that live look in Emporia where the snow is still coming down pretty heavily. On Supercast, this is starting at 5 a.m. tomorrow. I need to back this thing up and change it, but you'll see the snow coming to an end early tomorrow morning. I'm going to change that graphic in a moment. Additional snowfall accumulations on top of what's already come down. By 8 o'clock, we've got a lot of spots with 1 inch or 2 already additional. By 6 a.m. tomorrow, spots like Burlington showing up with an additional 3. So this may be a conservative number here. Let me back up again and run back through that one. So from 1 o'clock today now up till 5, the computer model is showing an additional ½ inch to 1 inch possible. That may be closer to 1 inch. It may be underdoing that. We're certainly going to see more accumulation on top of this. So by 5 o'clock today, you can count on an additional ½ inch, probably closer to a full inch in many spots. Emporia, Osage City, you could see an additional 2 inches of snow by 5 p.m. from what I see there. But through tomorrow morning, the computer model is still showing the same trend, that higher numbers would be in line down south. Now, these wind chill values not going to get better anytime soon. This is tomorrow at 8 a.m., -8, and the road crews are going to have a hard time clearing the snow off the roads. So if you have to go anywhere, please keep in mind that side streets not going to get cleared in Topeka, I know, unless there's at least 6 inches of snow. If somebody knows if they're doing it, let me know. But my understanding is unless it's 6 inches of snow, they won't do it. So, but the wind chill is still terrible tomorrow morning. Sunday, 5 p.m., we're still -4. So the wind chill stays below 0 all day today and all day tomorrow. These folks have got it worse up north around Fargo and Bismarck. Those wind chills are -40 to -50. Here's what we have for Monday morning. Monday morning, we are still around -11. So if you have kids that are in school, Monday morning might be a day out. I'm not saying for sure that it will be, but I am saying that you should be aware that the wind chill will be cold enough that some school administrators and decision makers will be thinking about having a snow day there, or considering if they want to do a half day and have the kids come in at 10 or noon. I'm not the decision maker in any of those, and I'm not saying that I know that, but you should check WIBW.com under the closings and just to make sure. So just a heads up that this is something we've seen in the past where schools will say, okay, -11, -15 wind chill in the morning. Does it warm up in the afternoon enough for us to have school? And it's better. By 5 p.m., the wind chill on Monday is closer to 0. Now, at wind chill of 0, most schools are going to go. But wind chill of -10, -15, they make a decision of, hey, at 10 a.m. it's not quite as dangerous, so they may decide to go delayed start. Again, I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm not saying I know that for sure. I am saying that from seeing this trend over and over again over the years, that's something that can happen and is something you should just be aware of and be watching for just in case. So rolling ahead to Tuesday, look at that. By 7 a.m. it's a wind chill of 8, and suddenly a wind chill of 8, is a huge improvement over what we have been dealing with. So here's what we have on the first alert 8-day forecast. We've got this winter storm today and ending early tomorrow morning. We'll call it a first alert day today and a first alert weather day tomorrow as well. With the extreme wind chill, the snow will continue to stay coated on the roads all across the area. And I've been mentioning, make sure you're protecting your pets in all this dangerous extreme cold wind chill. And snow is not a problem for them, of course, but with the wind chill that's cold, that's what's the problem. All right, now I'm going to go back to my other map here, and I want to show you some of the reports from other spots that are pretty wild. So we back up here to the beginning of my slideshow, and we're going to check out some of the wind chill reports up north first here, and then I'll show you some stuff down to the south. All right, so this is in South Dakota right there. See Rapid City, that's a report here just today of wind chill values of -30 and worse. And you get across Nebraska, there's a lot of spots there with 20 and 25 below 0. And western Kansas, you've got quite a few spots there with a 20, 25 below 0. And then for us, that's what we've got. We haven't had the wind chills going 20 below, but we've gone to 19 below 0. That was last night. We saw that report in Concordia as cold as 19 below 0. Down to the south, this is that ice storm that we've talked about. And right here, these areas of pink, those are the numbers that are going to be for ice. So right there, you've got 3/4 of an inch of freezing rain near Hall Summit, Louisiana. So it says that nearly a 3/4 inch of ice accretion measured southwest of Hall Summit, still precipitating. So accretion is going to be that ice glaze. That is the stuff that brings down power lines and causes really, really bad stuff. There's a report there of 1/2 inch of ice accretion in the town of Timpson. down tree, large limbs down to the locations, they're going to have power outages too. There are going to be lots of power outages down there in Texas and Louisiana from all of that. And up here in Arkansas, what do we have there? There's Little Rock with half a foot of snow. There's a 7.8 right there reported in North Little Rock just a little while ago. So they have heavy snow in that area as well. So up here we're dealing with snow that's still falling, and it will continue to fall throughout the day. All right, this is as of 12:45, so I am going to update this and see if we got any new data that's come in here on the LSRs. LSR meaning just local storm report, not trying to be too fancy with it, just kind of rolls off the tongue when you're nerdy weather people. All right, so scrolling down here, I don't see a new report that's come in here in Kansas here in the last few minutes. There's one from Missouri. No. Okay, so there's no new ones that have come in here in Kansas recently. All right, so again, back here in Emporia, what we're seeing is the heavy snow is kicking back in. It's going to stay there for quite a while. Back around here to the radar, let me bounce through this real quick. What I want to show you is that this snow is not coming to an end anytime soon here. So that's the view on the Prairie Band Casino Resort Live Storm Tracker. And these bands of snow that are near Emporia and Cottonwood Falls streaming in from the southwest, that is fairly heavy snow. And all that moving to the northeast, you know, that's going to be lined up over Emporia for a number of hours. So this stuff right through there from north of Wichita into Harvey County, that's all going to be heading right toward areas like Wichita and Osage City. So the possibility of seeing an additional 2, maybe 3 inches of snow before 5 p.m. Would exist there from what I see. The computer model was going a bit lower, more like an inch over the next 4 hours. But I really think that if you folks around Emporia and maybe even Council Grove, certainly Cottonwood Falls, but Emporia, Allen, Admire, Osage City, the possibility of you guys getting an additional 3 inches of snow in the next 4 hours certainly looks like a decent estimate from what I see. That's several hours of snow backed up, and it's all coming. The fetch is going to put it right over the middle of Lyon County, the middle of Chase County, and then heading into Osage County. It's not really a reason to believe that would be falling apart anytime soon. Down south, extreme snow falling there around Oklahoma at this point, and they will continue dealing with extreme problems as well. All right, let's back up on this thing, and I want to check out some of the KDOT cameras on Can Drive. Won't take me long to get back to this. There we go. All right, here we are on Can Drive. I'm going to expand this view out a little bit here so we can see better. All right, so this is going to be I-70 at Deep Creek Road is what we're looking at right there. And I've got it zoomed out farther than I really want to, so I'm going to change that view. Just bear with me here a little bit, and I can get this altered so we can see it just a little bit better. All right, there we go. So we got I-70 Deep Creek Road there, and you can see it's fully covered in snow, of course, like just about everything in the area certainly is. Move this over one more time here. There we go. And then we'll look at some other views down I-70. There we go. Manhattan at exit 313 covered in snow. Junction City completely covered in snow there. There's I-70 at Highway 77, Junction City. And then looking across Topeka, again, the snow's still falling here in the capital city as well. There's Gage. You know, you can get through, but a lot of people are staying home, obviously. There's I-70 at Gage. This is on top of that communication tower right by the highway patrol right there in the middle of town. And that's from the same tower, kind of the other side of the tower, looking to the northwest over toward the Kansas River. And again, cars are getting through okay, but you know, if you don't have to be on the road, certainly better just to stay home. That's near I-70 And right here, you're coming westbound on I-70. That's the off-ramp to get onto Wanamaker right there. Security Benefit Group is here kind of on the right side. And then if you go left, that's Wanamaker, the bridge right there coming across I-70, going left or going south. And once you get to the bottom of that hill, you've got the gas station, the Burger King on the right, and Jimmy John's, and all that stuff, all the yummy stuff over there on Wanamaker. Plenty of stuff there. But that's the view right there in Topeka right now from Wanamaker. All right, so plenty of snow covering the roads right now. And if you just don't have to be out, certainly it's better just to stay home with the conditions looking like this. All right, so back into downtown Topeka from the Cyrus Hotel. We still have the roads are covered in snow. Just got a report from Emergency Management of another 2.5 inches of snow near Centropolis. The Weather Service says they have 4 inches of snow at the Weather Service office. So in Topeka, the official snowfall total so far is 4 inches, but it is still coming down. So that's the official number now in Topeka is 4 inches of snow. And I'm not sure why that doesn't show up on the official LSR map, but it does not. So again, in Topeka, the official number now is 4 inches at Billard Airport, which is right over here on the northeast side of town. That's where the 4-inch report's going to be from. Now around Wamego, we still have snow falling as well, and Manhattan with both those locations at 4 and 5 inches of snow. But around Emporia, I really think Emporia is going to get an additional 2-3 inches of snow between now and 5 p.m. So that number is also going to jump pretty quickly over the next 3 hours or so, as that snow from central Kansas is coming in that direction. So around Emporia, again, I really think you're going to wind up with something like 6 inches of snow by 5 p.m. as your total, and it's going to continue to fall. There's the live look there in downtown Emporia, the Middle and Exterior Skycam network, of course, providing all this. And the camera is located there on top of the Lyon County History Center in downtown. We were watching a gentleman there across the street clearing the snow a few minutes ago. And it looks like he's got that done, but he'll be moving on to the next task shortly, no doubt. From Council Grove, this is heavy snow coming down. You can't see more than a mile from that camera due to the heavy snow. We've got still wind chill values of -10 in Topeka, -13 in Concordia right now, and Lawrence has -15 degrees. These winds are coming in from the northeast at 10 to 20 miles per hour, some of the gusts as high as 20 miles per hour at times. All right, so the surface temperatures right now, 1 in Concordia, 3 in Marysville. Just absolutely ridiculously cold air across the area continuing. I'm going to try to bring up some different computer model data for you here. And that's a view from Concordia again. And Concordia, the visibility is now down to 0.8 of a mile, with the snow even heavier. You can barely see over there to Highway 81, which is not that far away from this camera. And I'm going to bring up some computer model data here and see what we've got on the newest stuff. All right, so this is going to be the HRRR model. So we're going to look at here. And that is, as of right about, let's see, this is now. So what that's showing is this area of heavier snow there in central Kansas that's moving to the northeast toward Emporia, and the computer model wants to take that and really weaken it over the next couple of hours. And I'm not sure why it takes it from being kind of meaty looking there to, in a couple of hours, just having it fizzle. But for some reason, the computer model wants to minimize that. Now, rolling it ahead a couple of hours, there we go. This looks more likely. So we see this additional 2 inches of snow around Emporia up to Lawrence. So I would really expect to see over the next couple of hours, we'll see additional 2-3 inches of snow for areas like Emporia, Osage City, Lawrence. So we roll this all the way up to tomorrow morning. Now you can still see some indications of those higher numbers being added on. This is on top of what's already fallen, where it's showing a 4-inch total close to Lawrence there. Around Emporia, showing additional 3.5. Burlington about 4. You get up to Osage City, it's closer to 3.5. Topeka about 3. And the farther northwest you go, lesser numbers around Belleville, Washington, Marysville. So lesser numbers getting up in those areas to the north and west. But certainly that band that's coming from central Kansas going toward Emporia, I really expect to see an additional 2, maybe 3 inches of snow right through there for areas like Osage City and Emporia between now and 5 o'clock, maybe even 6. But the snow is already coming down heavily there in Emporia. This will continue to add up fairly quickly. And areas like Topeka also can see another additional inch or 2, say by 6 p.m. But this is not slowing down. I'm going to jump ahead to the radar here. And I've got my setup here a little different. I've been adjusting some things, setting up for tornado season, so I'm not quite as nimble with the system as I will be in a couple of weeks here. I've had to make a couple of changes in the last week. Actually, not last week. The last 3 weeks, I've had to make some severe changes to the back end of the system. But it will all make things better when we're dealing with tornadoes and have to really move things fast. All right, it's got a report from Manhattan of 5 inches of snow. Okay. Looking at a couple messages that are floating in here. Let's see. Leave Manhattan at 3:45. Okay. All right, so just giving a little advice to our sports folks there. All right, so I was mentioning Emporia. I think you're going to get another 2-3 inches of snow just over the next couple of hours. So if you're in Emporia, Osage City, this batch of snow coming towards you, and the computer model showed it kind of weakening, but that doesn't look like the case. Topeka, probably going to see another inch between now and 6 p.m. So it's not as heavy up farther north. So Concordia is snowing. That's interesting there that it's not showing snow on the radar there. Let's see if that radar's out. The radar yesterday, yep, okay, that's a problem. Well, that messes things up. So let me tell you what's going on there. Let's put this on still mode. Go back to still, and I'm going to put on all the radars. And I'll show you what a problem is that I've just realized why Concordia is not matching up with what we're seeing on radar versus what's really happening. We'll zoom this out and clear that off. Okay, so all these sweeps you see going around, those are all individual radars, okay? There's one near Pleasant Hill, Missouri. There's a Springfield radar. There's one near Tulsa. There's one near Oklahoma City. It's called Twin Lakes, is radar there. There's also one at the Radar Operations Center in Norman that they use. It's experimental, but I can access that for different things. I don't think we can use it on TV. But here's the one near Alma. There's also a radar near Blue Hill, Nebraska, which is the Hastings National Weather Service radar, and it's broken. It is off. So when I'm looking up here at Concordia and I'm seeing, hey, I don't see any snow showing up on the radar, but you look outside and it's 8/10 of a mile visibility, it's because that radar is not working. It is broken. So that's why we're seeing even more dramatic tapering off up there than what's really going on, is that radar from up there at Blue Hill, Nebraska is off, broken, something's up with it. So as you look outside live there from Concordia, from the camera, you can see very well. You can't see the street. that truck driving through there in the middle, you know, I mean, you can't see across the highway, which is not that far away. Visibility is now down to 0.8 of a mile. So when I bring it back over to the radar, you look at Concordia, it doesn't look that impressive really, and it's because, and there's the single site, it's because that radar up at Blue Hill is dead. I don't know what's wrong with it, but it's not showing some of that snow up there. So that said, well, I'm looking up here at Washington, Marysville, and saying it looks like you're probably not going to see much more snow. That's difficult to say because the radar is dead. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the high resolution visible satellite imagery up there and see if I can see if it's developing vertically or what we've got in that area, or if in fact this trend is actually lesser up there, or if it's just a problem with the radar. So still, I still expect to see all this snow here continue to move east-northeast. So Osage City, Council Grove, Emporia, Lawrence, likely to get an additional 2 inches of snow between now and 6 p.m. Topeka could also see an additional 2 inches of snow between now and 6 p.m. That's a real possibility. And I am working behind the scenes here to try to get this satellite up so we can see what is up with that discrepancy there. All right, let's change this over to the infrared. I'm going to loop it. Okay, so let's go back to this thing and back it all the way up here. Come on. So again, what I was looking at was a trend that these areas to the north here, right up in here, it looked like your snow is kind of winding down because that radar up there is broken. But what we see here on the infrared, these streaks of green right there are heading up toward Concordia and Belleville and Washington. Here's a streak of green right there. That's that activity going through Emporia right now. So while it looked like we'd see lesser amounts up there to the north or in Washington and Marysville, from looking here at the infrared, I'm not sure that Marysville and Concordia couldn't see an additional extra 2-3 inches of snow over the next couple of hours. As a matter of fact, from looking at that, it looks more likely that you probably will. Another feature that I see here is upstream. I'll zoom this back out. And what we have here is the reason why we're going to continue to be cold again on Monday. Remember I said that the wind chill on Monday morning still could be 10, 20 below zero. There's another short wave is what this is called at the jet stream, but it's going to continue to pull Arctic air in our direction. But you can see those clouds that are kind of diving southward across parts of Wyoming there. That could bring a little more snow. This would not be significant if we get snow out of that, but it is going to be more cold air that starts beating on us from this. But the more important thing that I've noticed there just immediately is, just not immediately, but the more important thing that I've really kind of noticed there out of just kind of checking this out is that that batch of snow near Concordia is being underdone by the models, I think, because it's not being hit by that radar. If the radar doesn't see the precipitation up there, I really think that it's missing out on that snow. So we may be under forecasting how much snow is going to happen up there along the Nebraska state line. We've already had some spots up there with 4 or 5 inches of snow. So for now, we have a winter weather advisory for the counties up to the north, including you folks that are over in, let me drag this thing around. There we go. So right now we have a winter weather advisory that goes from Republic, Washington, Marshall, Nemaha, Brown, and all the way over here to Donovan County. But we've already seen the snow exceed the requirement for a winter storm warning up there. So, you know, I was wanting to say that you wouldn't see as much snow up to the north, but now from looking at the fact the radar's down there and the fact the infrared is showing a significant vertical motion, you still could see an additional couple of inches of snow to the north. So Marysville, you got 4.3 already. Around Washington, the number is 5 inches of snow, but there's no reason to believe you couldn't see an additional 2 or 3 on top of that. The computer model is not showing that, but I still think you could. There's Wamego, Manhattan, already 4 and 5 inches of snow right there. In Topeka, Billard Airport is reported you have 4 inches of snow at the airport at National Weather Service office. Emporia has 4. Emporia's going to see another 2 or 3 on top of that just in the next couple of hours. And by tomorrow morning, it should start to wrap up. But you can see in Emporia, the snow is coming down pretty heavily. You can still see more than 3 blocks down the street. We're looking north toward Emporia State University. That is downtown. And that fellow there in the middle has been working hard clearing that snow. Looks like there's a couple of them there. But they're working hard to get rid of it, and a lot of people will be. So there's Council Grove, heavy snow coming down. The wind chill values are still awful. And I'm going to jump back up here to the radar. Okay, so what we found out here is that what's happening there on the radar doesn't necessarily match what's going on the ground, because the radar, that KUEX is which radar it is down, and that radar is for the Hastings National Weather Service office. So here's another one. We're looking in here close at Belleville. And I'm going to switch that just to single site. You got nothing, okay? So now we're going to go back over to the KDOT cameras. And on KDOT, you're going to see that it is definitely snowing there. And you can't see more than about a mile. So it's snowing just as heavily there near Belleville and Highway 81 as it is in Concordia, and the radar is not showing it, and the model is not picking up significant additional snowfall in that area. So that's going to be the problem. So my friends, if you're up here in areas like Marysville, Concordia, Washington, Haddam, Morrowville, you guys are still looking at more snow as well, even though the radar doesn't show it, because the radar up there is broken. It is not running. This stuff down here is more obvious. Emporia to Council Grove, over to Marion. You are all in this band of moderate to heavy snow that's coming through from the southwest, and it's backed up for several hours there. Let me see how far this actually goes with a mileage. The distance here from the back edge of the snow up to, we'll say, Emporia is about 120 miles. And in an hour, this might be moving 25 miles per hour. So Emporia, you've got something like 5 hours more snow coming from the southwest. Topeka is going to be a little longer than that. Yeah, I'd say a big part of the area gets an additional 3 inches of snow before 7 p.m. So what we have out there right now is already significant problem, obviously, with a widespread covering of snow. But from what I see there, with the snow that's backed up, it's going to take at least another 4 hours for that to clear. Even Emporia, it'll take closer to 5 hours for it to get past Osage City, and probably another maybe 6 hours to get past Topeka. So we're not going to see a break from this snow until probably 7 or 8 p.m. for a big part of the area. And this stuff up here is snowing too. So while it looks like Belleville to Washington looks like there's nothing falling there, there is in fact significant snow falling in that area, and the visibility around the Belleville KDOT camera is less than a mile. So that's moderate to heavy snow in an area the radar shows nothing falling. So if you're up there and looking at radar on any different app or whatever it might be, that radar is off. All right, more updates coming in at me here. Jump over to this Euro model and see what it has. There's 6 p.m. this evening, and it shows this. It shows the snow moving out of here. Let's see if it's the Euro, if it's the HRRR. I need to make sure which model I've actually got on there. Okay, that's the HRRR. How about the now or the graph? Let's look at the IBM graph and see what it does. There we go. Okay, so this one, I'm going to take it back to the present time, all the way back to now. Let it load. I'm kind of bringing in new data here. This is updating as we're talking about it. And this one, there we go. The graph is handling that snow to the north better than the other models are from what I see here. So areas like Concordia up to Washington and Marysville is showing that better than the other models were. However, it shows it's all really getting out of here by 4, and I don't think that's reasonable. And it also shows it really falling apart here in the back end, which does not make a lot of sense. So go back over here to the radar, and again, from what I see there, we've got at least 4 or 5 more hours of this snow continuing across the bulk of northeast Kansas, and that means we're going to see an additional 2 maybe 3 inches of snow on top of what's already fallen out there. So there we go. All right, let's change this over to the single site instead of having multiple radars on. And I'm going to go over to the Wichita, which is the closest one to what's actually going on there, to the back edge. I'm looking at the back edge of the radar of the snow as I'm looking at here to see when the break actually comes through. So areas like Salina and Abilene and McPherson will start to see the back edge of the snow probably in 2 hours here. But Council Grove, Emporia, Osage City, Topeka is at least 4 or 5 more hours of snow. Up to Holton is at least 4 or 5 more hours of snow. Up here on Marysville, Concordia, the snow is not ending, even though it looks like it is there on the radar. It is not. It is ending in northwest Kansas. There's nothing falling up there around Goodland at this time. But so this activity that kind of looks like it just looks like there's nothing up there around Concordia, but in fact there is. All right, let's see if any more reports are coming in here. Nothing new from the Weather Service here in northeast Kansas at the moment. About 4 inches of snow in Hoyt. Got a picture coming in there. Baileyville, looks like about 3 inches of snow. Snow everywhere. All right. Now we're going to check out this is going to be, I'm going to show the camera here at Highway 81 and 24. This is just south of Concordia. So again, I was mentioning that the radar is underdoing the snow there because the radar is not on. They're in Hastings, broken for some reason, and so on radar this looked like nothing, but you can see there Clearly the snow is coming down heavily at 24 and Highway 81, just south of Concordia. That camera's located right there, kind of straight south of Concordia. And then Belleville, close to Belleville, there's that one. And again, on the radar, it's just absolutely not showing any of that. All right, so, excuse me. Again, from what I see, between now and call it 7, we'll call it 7 o'clock. Between now and 7 o'clock, many of us are going to see an additional 2 inches of snow. Some spots could go as much as 3 over those 5 hours, okay? So near Maple Hill, still snowing moderately. There's Council Grove, can't see more than a mile. When you can't see more than a mile, the snow is moderate to heavy. Wind chill vibes are still terrible. If you have to be outside in this, please make sure you're bundled up and wearing warm clothes, as you know, you can get frostbite in this kind of extreme cold. Temperatures ranging from 1 to about 7 degrees. And again, in Concordia, the snow coming down. That's heavy. You know, if you can't see to Highway 81, that is heavy snow in Concordia right now. And, you know, that looks like it's going to continue for a couple more hours there as well. So in Concordia, I'm not quite sure what the snowfall total is so far, but it's going to continue to pile up there. All right, so across northeast Kansas, this big area, most likely to see another 2 or 3 inches of snow between now and 7 o'clock. All right, we're going to kill the live stream here for a while. We will come back on at 3 p.m. with an update, and we'll talk for about an hour then about some of the updated snowfall totals and what's going on. But for right now, I expect it to snow moderate to heavy across most of the area, at least through 7 or 8 p.m. And virtually everybody in the area is going to pick up an additional 2 inches of snow between now and 7 p.m. There'll be more snow moving in late tonight. It's primarily south of the Kansas Turnpike that could bring us some spots like Burlington, Yates Center, Emporia up even more. And we'll talk more about that coming up about 3 o'clock here on the live stream. Thanks for checking in with us.